Clubhouse.
Welcome back to Pod Clubhouse's Press Pass podcast. This is our first one for the 2026 convention season. And as usual, it's for Comicpalooza in Houston, Texas.
This is Caroline, and I'm excited to talk about this con with you because it is always one that you love going to and you often take our kids to. So tell us a little bit about it. When is it this year?
This year, it'll be on Friday, May 22nd through Sunday, May 24th at the George R. Brown Convention Center downtown, where it normally is.
So for people who have no idea what Comicpalooza is, especially if they think it's just about comics, because the name can be a little bit misleading, tell us a little bit about it.
They call themselves more of a pop culture festival than strictly comics. In fact, there aren't an overwhelming number of comic creators there. Sometimes there are, sometimes they're not. I think the people that are in charge of guest booking have different emphases various years. Sometimes it's very author heavy. Sometimes they land a giant cast reunion or something like that. So that's why I would say it's more of a pop culture thing, because as we'll discuss in a minute, this year's guests are more on the celebrity side, but really varied compared to some of the lineups that you find at other cons.
It's pretty large, too. It spans several floors and halls of the GRB. Let's talk a little bit about pricing. They have tiered passes, including a single day, a full weekend, which is $105. They have a VIP Elite version, which offers a 30-minute early floor access. That can be nice if you have to kind of hustle up and get through everything. You may not have so much time to do everything if you don't get that VIP pass.
The VIP pass, if you are there for the signatures and photo ops and that kind of thing, I would recommend getting the VIP pass because you're already going to spend hundreds of dollars to do that stuff. Mm-hmm. And what you are buying with your VIP pass is time. If you don't have enough time to get the signatures that you want, then you might consider the con sort of a mixed result or a failure, even if you miss the person that you wanted to see. That VIP pass, in addition to letting you into the floor early, it also gives you the shortcut line through all of the celebrity lines.
Right, and they do sell out, so make sure if you are interested in that VIP Elite Pass that you buy early. So let's talk about some of the people who are going to be coming back. I know we have some major cast reunions. Talk to me about Daredevil.
Daredevil was the first Marvel show put on Netflix, and it just broke down every kind of preconceived notion about what a comic book TV show could look like, because it was gritty, it was violent, it had very long takes where they put Daredevil through a gauntlet of people just in a single take of doing stunt work, and the story just resonated with people because it was just great. It was exactly what people wanted to see, and it was Daredevil versus Kingpin. After Disney bought Marvel and decided to start making their own shows on Disney Plus, the plug was pulled on all of the Netflix Marvel shows. There needed to be some period of time that passed before Disney could even decide what to do with the characters, and that time has passed. So they revived, at first, Daredevil in a show called Daredevil Born Again. And Daredevil Born Again, second season, is still running currently to when we're recording this podcast. And so those two key characters that I just mentioned, Daredevil and Kingpin, played by Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, will be there. And I've seen them at another con, and they were, now that they can talk about the show a little bit more, I'm sure that they were fun before, especially D'Onofrio. People asked him questions about Kubrick. He answered. They asked him about work. They asked him about his family a little bit. And he, for as good an actor he is very much like a punch the time card kind of guy. Like, as soon as work's done, I want to go home, which is an honest take from someone, I would say, pretty established in entertainment. But additionally, they have Wilson Bethel, who plays Bullseye, who's sort of a villain, and the return of Jessica Jones herself, played by Kristen Ritter. She had her own show on Netflix. No one knows if she's going to have a show on Disney, but she is now installed in the Daredevil show this season.
And just for you guys keeping track, if you're making your spreadsheets and figuring out which days you want to go, Charlie and Wilson will be there on Saturday only. So if you want to see them, you've got to be there on Saturday, while Vincent and Kristen will be there on Saturday and Sunday. So mark down your calendars, make sure you're picking the right days if you're not going a full weekend to make sure you see the people you want to see.
So this is a con that does have panels. Some cons minimize panels, whereas this con has a lot of panels. And so by the sounds of it, that Daredevil panel will be Saturday. I can't promise you that, but if I was organizing this comic convention, that's what I would do to get everybody on stage at the same time.
Absolutely. So next we have a Matrix 25th anniversary. I cannot even believe it's been 25 years. That makes me feel very old. Tell us about who's coming for that.
Morpheus himself, man. Lawrence Fishburne. That's a pretty...
That's a huge get.
That's a huge get. Can you think of a more established actor? I mean, my God. And I don't see him at a lot of these things.
So this may be your only chance, people, if you want to check him out.
Man, I remember seeing The Matrix. It was just sort of like, on a whim, in college. You were close to graduating. I still had summer school to go. And I went to go see this movie by myself, not having any expectations at all. And it was my favorite thing since Star Wars.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
So who else is coming?
Joe Pantoliano, who played Cypher. You might know him as Ralphie from The Sopranos. You might know him as one of the dim-witted brothers from the Fratelli gang in Goonies. He has been in just a ton of stuff. He was recently played himself in another Marvel show called Wonder Man. And yeah, so he's going to be there, as well as Marcus Chong, who played Tank, the operator in the first Matrix movie.
And this group is planning, at least at this point, to be there for the full weekend. So this is one of those things that I'm going to add a little disclaimer, because schedules change, you guys. So make sure that you're updating every time when you're like thinking, I'm like excited about Comicpalooza coming up. Go ahead and go check in on that website, because you want to make sure that you know if anybody's changed their dates, changed their days. Sometimes that happens. So if there's someone you really, really want to see, keep double checking and making sure that they're there. And of course, the best way to see everybody is to get that full weekend ticket.
And in my experience, Comicpalooza has done a really admirable job of keeping their list of guests and their comings and goings updated, so that if someone needs to limit their time, or if they just can't come anymore, they try to tell us as soon as possible.
Which is great, because sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you could be like getting in line for somebody and at other cons, and then you're just like told like, by the way, they didn't show up, they missed their flight, whatever. And things happen, and we all understand as con goers that you have to expect some percentage of the people who you're excited to see won't make it. That's just the way it goes with cons. But like you said, the best cons like Comicpalooza, they will make sure that people are updated. You can keep checking that app, keep checking everything online, social media, to make sure that you know where people are, and if they're unfortunately not going to make it, you can adjust your plans. So there's also going to be some gaming guys there. I know we have Halo 25th anniversary.
Now, I'm not a big Halo head, but I do know that that is a super popular game that has endured. You see cosplays of it. You see those guys that 3D print helmets. They print out a Master Chief helmet and sell it at the con like this. So the voice of Master Chief, the voice of Cortana, and some of the other voices that they have kept the whole time. And that's several... I mean, when did Halo come out? Sometime in the early 2000s, and they're still making Halo titles with these same actors. So it can be surprising even that voice actors alone, or even video game voice actors, may have substantial lines. But I'll tell you, I recently attended a con with my daughter, and the man who played the voice of Arthur from Red Dead Redemption 2 had a super long line. He's not on screen. It's not his face. It's just his voice. But his line was always maxed out.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah. So plan.
They also have a really cool special guest that's coming this time, legendary composer Marty O'Donnell. That is very unexpected and a cool ad, I think.
It'd be interesting if Marty gets their own panel, because talking about something like music composition Might not fill the biggest theater that they have there, but I think this is the fourth largest city in America. There's going to be people that'll be interested to hear about that.
I think so. I think it's very fascinating. There's also going to be some sci-fi and cult favorites. Edward James Olmos, who we all love, and Paul has taken lots of cute pictures with him from Battlestar Galactica. Pam Grier's coming from Jackie Brown. Rainn Wilson from The Office, and Lou Ferrigno. Oh my goodness, the Incredible Hulk. I can't even imagine. Like my belly would be like, oh.
Lou, it's not unusual for professional wrestlers to come to these things. Mm-hmm. And at some point, the wrestlers decide to kind of phase down, their body.
Sure.
So they're not the same giants that they were before. Lou, I don't think he got that memo. He's still pretty jacked for a guy his age.
That's amazing. We were just watching the Hulk Hogan documentary, and you could definitely tell some of the guys definitely lost that physique and decided to just slim down, be healthy and fit or whatever, but not be that big, bulky kind of person. But Hulk, on the other hand, I felt like he stayed pretty big, given his age and everything.
He did.
So for some big time nostalgia, we have Steve Burns coming. For all of you guys who are thinking, who's Steve Burns? I don't remember that name. Steve from Blue's Clues. He was the original host. He had that big resurgence right after COVID started, where he like came on and did all that social media where he's like, I never forgot about you. And people were like bawling their eyes out because it was like, oh my God, he was out there remembering us.
I think he can fill a theater.
I think he can too, because I think there's still kids who are watching those original Blue's Clues. If you're bringing your family, that would be a great one for you to check out. He seems to be, at least on his social media platforms, very kind, very generous, very sweet, like not somebody who you'd have to worry like, okay, he's one guy on my TV set, but he's going to act totally different with my kids. Mm-hmm. Like, no, it seems like you could absolutely bring your kids, bring your family and see him. Or if he's just special to you and you want to have a little moment and go back to your childhood, feel free to do that. I think that's a great one. We also have animation stars coming. I know one of your favorites is Rick and Morty.
Definitely one of my favorites. When the creator of Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites had legal trouble and needed to leave the shows in order to allow all the people whose livelihoods depended on those shows to continue to work, they needed to replace his voice, and he had a substantial amount of voices. For Solar Opposites, they went one direction. They got an Englishman, Dan Stevens, to fill in the blanks. But with Rick and Morty, that's really the brand. That's the bread and butter of that kind of animation house, right? And so they needed to get people who sounded exactly like Rick and Morty, and that's what they did here. So they got Ian Cardoni, who plays Rick, and Harry Belden, who plays Morty, and Spencer Grammer, Frasier's daughter, plays Summer, and she always has, so they didn't need to replace her.
Love that. I know you're going to enjoy that very much. Our kids really, really love voice talent. They care a lot about the voice actors. We have one who will do anything to get to see a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle at any given time. And another one who would do anything to see anyone who's ever done a Muppet anywhere at any point in time. So voice talent is huge in our family. Talk to me about some of the anime voice talent that's coming.
Well, they have Greg Chun from Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is a hugely popular anime. It's getting a little older now, but it continues to produce new content, new movies, and people cosplay from that universe like crazy. You can't miss it. It's constant. And Stephen Fu, Allison Keith Shipp, who was in Neon Genesis Evangelion from the 90s, which is a pretty foundational anime that left people loving it and hating it after they were finished watching it because they loved watching the action and they couldn't figure out what the finale meant. And Rino Romano from The Batman.
On the big stages, on the Gold and Emerald stages, they're going to be having these large-scale sessions of celebrity Q&A. This is a really good way for you to be able to interact with some of these really big-name stars. Let's talk for just a second about what is a good question for any type of panel. Your question should start with those W words, right?
They should.
They should not start with I. I watched your show and I felt that, please don't do that. Please don't do that. You will literally, like, there are crowds that I have been at cons that people will, like, literally boo you down. So please don't come up with a big story of why you named your child after this person. honestly, not the time or place, write a fan letter, send a tweet, do something like that. But here you could get some answers to some really burning questions that all the people in the room will clap and applaud for you for getting some interesting fact out there, some cool behind the scenes dirt. Think about those types of questions. That's what you want to be asking.
And don't be cute.
Oh, don't be cute. What does it mean?
Don't be cute. Often the people on stage, they don't have what's called monitors, which are speakers that point right at them.
Okay.
You know,
So ask your question concisely and simply, and don't try to be too complicated.
we were just at a con and someone tried asking, I think it was Seth Green, a hugely complicated question, supposing that he was portraying characters from his different franchises, Family Guy and Robot Chicken, what kind of like fast food entree they would make. And it was like, he just couldn't understand what the heck he was trying to talk about.
Oh
you know?
my goodness, yeah. Yeah, so maybe not the time or the place to be too
Go to his table.
obscure.
If you want to ask that kind of weird stuff.
Right. Maybe don't be too obscure with your questions. But again, think about the fact that there's like hundreds of people who are listening and wishing that they could have a chance to be at the microphone, and you're getting that chance. So ask something that you think that people will be like, yes, I'm so glad I found out about that. There also are some specialized tracks that are going on. We have the CP University, which is like an expert-led educational panel on science, history, and the industry, right? Like the craft, basically.
This is new to me, and I'll be interested to see what shape that takes. If that is more kid focused, because there usually is quite a bit of kid focused stuff, you know, like an area where they can build Legos or
The library is
color
usually
things.
there, yes.
Often the library is
NASA is there.
Often NASA is there. Not every time, but often NASA is there. When they talk about science and industry, that's kind of what we have to offer in Houston. I mean, yes, we have the oil industry, obviously, but this isn't the venue for that. Whereas space is definitely on the mind of the people that attend Comicpalooza.
Also, there's a literature track. So there's going to be featured authors and comic book creators.
Right. And this is kind of a huge get in the author world. Matt Dinniman has this series of books that I've known about, but I recently started listening to. It's called Dungeon Crawler Carl. Have you heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl?
Only from you talking about it. But I know people are talking about it out there.
There is merch. There is a role-playing game. There is a 2-player card game coming out. Both of those are in Kickstarter, by the way, all based on this universe that he created. And I got to tell you, the narration on the audiobook makes it for me. The setup of that Carl is in this dungeon, but he's also with his cat.
Okay.
But the cat can talk.
Of course.
And the cat's name is Princess Donut.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Already a hook, you guys. If you haven't checked it out, go check out Dungeon Crawler Carl. And what comic book creators can people expect to see?
Gail Simone and Jason Aaron. So if you have any books that you would want to see shoot up in value that they contributed to, I would bring them. Just like I'm going to do with Matt Dinniman and my copy of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm going to have him sign that and stash it away in my little hidey hole where I put my signed books.
Yeah, nice. Okay, also there's going to be a podcasting track. We should feel like extra special about that. It's a dedicated area for podcast production and community engagement. So if you have some favorite podcasts that you want to check out, they may be there. So go check that area out. Also, they're on the second floor, they're going to have gaming, which we all know there's both types, electronic and tabletop, but there's going to be all types of like modern games, retro tournaments with the electronic stuff. Also with the tabletop games, there'll be all types of strategy workshops and card game libraries and all types of fun stuff to see. So if you just want to find a new game, maybe you're like sitting around thinking like, well, I've never played that game. I would like to see it in action. You can go check it out, see other people playing, or maybe go ahead and play yourself. If you feel like you have some skills you would like to demonstrate to everybody, feel free.
I think even at this late date, if you wanted to contact them and say, I'm interested in running a game, I think they would be like, great.
I think that's
How
amazing.
many do you want to do?
So think about that. If you want to actually be more than just an observer, you want to participate in Comicpalooza, think about that.
And the games, if you are a person that has kind of flirted with the idea of Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, but it seems overwhelming in trying to understand the mechanics of the game or the history of the game or whatever it is that's bogged you down, these con sessions are kind of designed for you. And they are meant to be run in this way that fits into this little box of time. And they have pre-made characters, and the dungeon master explains the rules as you go. And so hopefully by the end of it, you're interested in finding a group. Maybe the people that you played with who are complete strangers to you are like, hey, would you be interested in doing this on a regular basis?
That's a really good point, because it's very hard to find people sometimes to game with. Sometimes, you feel like you're very isolated and you're like, well, I don't really know anybody else who plays this. This is a good place to network, find out other people, maybe see other people who have similar styles as you or similar personalities or senses of humor, whatever. You can kind of like browse fellow players, if you will, and maybe exchange some information and get some new groups together. So also, if you are somebody who wants to participate in Comicpalooza, there is the Artist Alley and the Dealer's Room, and that is stuff that you can ask to sign up for. You can pay for a booth, but Paul's going to tell you a little bit more about things that you can see if you're just coming as a con goer.
There's a large space dedicated to vendors. And these are going to be a combination of local curiosity and comic shops that are bringing out kind of the expensive comics that they want to try to sell to a new audience. Some of their older comics, not older in the sense like they can't move them, but older in the sense like from the 50s or like something.
Vintagey.
So they're valuable and they need more eyes on them to move some, and it doesn't take very many of them to pay for their booth. So if you're coming thinking, I'm going to pick up my first run comics while I'm at the con, in my experience, you're going to have a hard time doing that. There's not very many people that bring this week's comics to the Comic-Con unless they are some special cover or something or related to an artist that's there or something like that.
But you may be able to backfill your collection with something that you haven't seen at your local shop.
Absolutely.
You might be able to find somebody who's got it. I mean, I think I've spent a long time pouring through those cardboard boxes looking for a certain comic book that you're looking for or the kids are looking for, and they usually have it. You can usually find at least some little special gem.
So there's people that make stuff that they want to sell of various kinds, lots of 3D printed dragons, but people that make their own artwork and with like say stickers or crafts that they create and sell, like the Cthulhu or the octopus kitties or something. I don't know. They're like knitted together little things.
Oh yeah. I've seen those guys. There's lots of things, you guys. There's everything you could imagine, from like fabric art stuff to paintings to really neat like even like day glow art posters, all kinds of things neon things that light up and do all kinds of things.
Cosplay props.
Loads of cosplay props. I actually think like if you're even somebody who just dresses up for like Halloween or whatever, a con like this is probably one of your best shots like of getting something cool that if you say you're somebody who's like, I want to go to that costume contest this year and I want to like knock them dead. Like you could find some really amazing pieces at this. And ladies, I'm going to say just for myself, like I think you could find stuff that you could like club wear and stuff like that. I think you can like find some cool things that you can mix and match in your own like regular everyday wardrobe, which sounds a little wild, but at the same time, I think that, you can add a little pop culture to your life, no matter if it's just every day or if it's a special occasion.
And it won't be things that anybody else has.
No, because most of the time it is custom made. And most of the time you're talking to the actual person who made it. So say they don't have your size, they'll probably make it for you. If you ask them, you can probably order it. They've always been very kind, very open, wanting to accommodate anybody and anything. So if you have like special restrictions, maybe you have special needs and you need something changed up in a certain way to accommodate you, talk to the owners of these booths because they are really willing to accommodate people.
There's several lightsaber sellers, if you're interested in that.
Always.
Those are getting to be pretty pricey, I think, in order to get like the kind that has like the color you want with the sound or whatever. So be ready. If you want to buy a lightsaber, be ready to, somewhere in the $100, $200 range for you to get the one that you want.
You've got a month though. So maybe, like don't eat out a couple of times between now and then. Save up some extra spending cash so that you can actually blow some money on something that you really, really enjoy.
And then there's the artist alley. It's a little different than the vendors. These are people that are typically somehow related to comics, like they have their own comic book, or they have their own novel, or they have their something that they have created in the creative space rather than kind of the manufacturing space. Does that make sense?
It totally does. This is where we met Guy Gilchrist. He is the artist who did Muppet Babies and loads of other things. But we actually ordered from him versions of our kids made into Muppet Babies, and he sent them to us, and it was amazing. And he was super kind. I have Guy Gilchrist's phone number in my phone now, and I could ask him something if I needed to. So he is super open and amazing. And those are the types of people that you're going to find in Artist Alley, people who want to custom create something for you, or talk about their art, talk about how they got into the industry. So if you're somebody out there who is like, I have this great idea, I'm an artist, but I don't really know how to even begin, you could ask them questions at their table about how did they do this.
That's true. You can order a commission while you're there. You won't get it while you're there.
Obviously. They'll send it to you.
And depending on the kind of the amount you want that artist to work it up, it will vary with the cost. Like if you want it inked, colored, all the things, that's going to cost a little bit more, maybe a lot more. But you could get a piece that you were kind of the art director on from an artist that really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity to collaborate with somebody like face to face and get a chance to have a really unique piece of art. There's also going to be some theme zones. We touched upon the Kidtopia idea that there's areas for families. This is a dedicated area for younger kids who have things like Lego displays and quad ball, which is inspired by Quidditch. There's also, like we said, the public library is usually there. NASA is usually there. I would think with Artemis 2 having just happened, I would think, my goodness, they better have a presence there, because I think that they are going to be swamped with people who want to ask questions and find out more about visiting NASA. But it's always fun. And even if you're just a kid at heart, if you're somebody who just enjoys those really cool Lego displays, don't feel discouraged like you can't go over there if you don't have a kid with you. Feel free to go check them out. They're really cool and really different. There's also the Full Steel Combat. This is live armored knights where they have actual tournaments. That sounds so wild, right? But like you can actually see this happening. That's pretty amazing.
It's in a cage.
Well, thank God.
Thank God.
You can't have the knights running loose.
They're not wearing 3D printed armor. They're wearing metal, you know?
Sure.
And when they swing, they're not trying to kill each other, obviously. But
right. That'd be a sad day.
but they are trying to win the match.
Sure.
I don't think it's choreographed. Maybe it is, but I don't think it is. It's just that stuff is so heavy.
Yeah.
Like when you watch a movie and they're swinging their swords like Princess Bride, those are movie swords.
Right.
You know, but a real sword is a really heavy thing.
Yeah, you're going to hear some clanking and clanging. So if you're somebody who has sensitive ears, this might be a good idea to bring your headphones.
Good point.
If you have any type of issue with that, our kids do. We have 2 out of the 3 that wear headphones when we go to different things. So there is noise and there is things like that, especially at like something like the night tournament. So get those headphones out if you need them.
And then the last thing in that kind of themed zone segment is that they have their car show. This takes up a lot of space. There's a growing number of cars. And it's not just people that say, there's someone that brings like the car from Supernatural. And if you want, you can pay and get a picture taken with it. Or maybe an Ecto one or a Jurassic Park Jeep. Those aren't the cars. These are people's personal like dedications to their fandom rather than just a recreation of a movie prop. Say you like Superman, then you get a car and you get a red car and you deck it out with blue and yellow accents. It's custom paint jobs, wrap jobs, custom upholstery, custom pieces in the engine, the trunk. They open up the doors and the trunks and the hood so that you can see how complete these are, and you get to vote. There's a way to vote for which one you think is the best one out of all of them, but it's really hard to choose based on just kind of the effort and quality put into the cars because they're all at a very high level.
I'm always amazed by them. And, you know, I'm not a car girl at all. I don't like when someone says, what is your car? I'm like, black. Like, I don't care about cars. But honestly, you guys, these are really creative, very, very well done. Like you can get right up close to the cars. Of course, we always discourage, you know, touching and monkeying with them. But at the same time, you can get really close and see the details and see all the love and care that's gone into it. Most of the time, the owners are standing right there. So again, this is your opportunity. If you ever wanted to have something like this on your car, this is a great chance to ask questions and find out like the do's and don'ts and maybe avoid some trouble that somebody else can give you some tips on. So definitely feel free to ask questions. Come with your questions. They want to talk to you. They badly want to talk about their car. I mean, that's why they brought it. So please feel free to do that. If you are somebody who likes to do things after dark and you like to do some like evening activities, maybe you're not a morning person and you don't really want to do that part, or maybe you go all day long, you're a 24/7 person, they're going to have celebrity karaoke, which is a high energy fan event where attendees, and occasionally they have some panelists and some guests and some people unexpected, take the stage and have fun. It's very cool, just like a big party, like completely celebrating pop culture, celebrating music, celebrating a fandom that we're like all together at the same place. Because like Paul was saying about the gaming and stuff, sometimes some of this stuff is kind of isolating. You maybe don't know anyone else who's into these things. This is the type of thing where you can meet and greet other people who are also into all the things you're into.
And these other events, such as the it looks like Japanese style, but hip hop rap battles.
Very cool. And like completely different. Like, where are you going to see that, you guys?
Or, K-pop dance routines. It's not listed there, but they do have like stages where if you have your little squad, that you have your outfits and you have your moves, you can take the stage.
Yeah. And actually our daughter, who was dressed as Robin at the time, went over, like as in Batman and Robin, went over and totally started dancing with these K-pop girls years ago. It was extremely adorable, but she learned their little dance. She was so tiny. She was probably like 4 or 5, and they were doing all their moves and they let her just join in and dance with them in the hallway. They had their music going and they were doing their own thing. People stopped and, watched their show and moved on. So people were doing that just sort of impromptu, and that was super fun too. There's also late night panels that would be considering 21 and up adult panels. So don't bring your family to this, but they also have Beer Utopia. So times again to just sort of kick back, network, find out other people. Maybe you're looking for someone in the industry you want to meet up with, or maybe just find some other fans that you can get along with.
Yeah, these are going to be panels that are more focused just thematically on things that most parents don't expose their kids to. It's not going to be some kind of outrageous thing. It's just something where the people in attendance want to be able to speak freely about whatever it is the topic is.
Also, there's a live art auction for those of you who want to check that out. It's on Saturday night, and there's going to be original works created on the show floor that are auctioned off to the highest bidder. So if that's something that gets your blood pumping, you want to be a part of an auction, you want to see things that maybe you've noticed that an artist is working on down on the floor, and then you're going to see the final results and get to see them auctioned off. So don't miss that too. There's so many different things to check out.
So we're only a few weeks away from Comicpalooza starting. I usually go every day because I want to see the panels. I want to get a full sense of everything available to me on the floor, and I want to experience everything that they have there. So where some cons are, you can do what you need to do in one day. I'm going
to put in a caveat there. If you're focused, if you're well planned, and I mean well planned, like you have your times, please do not show up there looking at the app like for the first time. Like, oh, okay, what time is this thing going to happen? Don't do that. Please don't do that. There needs to be some pre-gaming that goes on at home where you are looking at all of the times. We usually use a spreadsheet so that we can keep track of who's where and who's going to go at what time, and what time do we need to get in a line for signing for things, or what time do you need to get in line for a panel. Please add in that cushion time. Please add in some time to get some food and enjoy they usually have food trucks outside. They also have food inside you can check out at the concession stands. So planning is the key. When Paul says you can do it in one day, only if you have a plan. If you do not have a plan, you may come away kind of disappointed, or you have to go in with the idea that I'm just going to get what I get, and I'm going to be happy with whatever happens. If I find a line that looks good, I'm going to hop in, but I'm going to stay loose and cool. And if that's your approach to cons, that's cool too. But then you're most likely not going to have all the things on your list checked off.
Speaking of planning, you should be aware ahead of time that the George R. Brown does not have dedicated parking. It has lots of surface lots around it. It has a few garages around it, but nothing that's connected. So you should be aware that, in my experience, it costs more than it did last year. So if you parked in a $20 lot last year, it's going to be $30 this year. If it was a $30 lot last year, it's going to be $40 this year.
Yeah. So you may consider Ubering, or you may consider carpooling with somebody else. You may consider having someone drop you off. Those types of things are also an option. Also, there's been some years when we've decided, even though we are technically local to Houston, we are not far away at all. We could easily drive. Sometimes we choose to get a hotel room because they have very, very convenient airwalks that connect to the hotels that are nearby. There's two. You can check them out. There's the Hilton and the Marriott, and you can check those two out. And it's so easy because, especially if you're a cosplayer, if you need to go back, midday to go fix up something that's fallen apart of your costume, you need to redo some makeup, you want to change costumes, maybe you want to go put on something more comfortable for the evening time, whatever you want to do. Having a hotel room that is connected and you can just stay in the air conditioning. This is Houston, y'all. It was 90 degrees today and we're in April. So please consider that as part of your plan. Again, drink your water, bring your snacks, do what you need to do. And if you're somebody who really can't deal with the heat, consider getting one of those connected hotel rooms that you can just walk straight across. And it's so simple. And it was so easy with kids because you don't have to wake up too early. You don't have to do anything. You just walk right across and go right into the convention.
Speaking of planning, there are often days that you can pick up prepaid badges before the con at locations around the city.
And that was so helpful for you last year. I remember that.
So if you don't do that.
So like what types of places, Paul? Because people might not understand what you mean. Like you don't have to go all the way down to the convention center.
We've been to like a comic store. We've been to a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Like they will actually have these like satellite locations all around the city that are they're easier to get to and more convenient. You can pick up your badges in advance. That was such a big help to you that one year for sure.
So what if it takes you 45 minutes to drive there and drive back? Okay, whatever. But you're not standing in a line of 800 people that snakes outside because it's so long.
And if you're in that cosplay outfit with those heels on and that makeup, last thing you want to do is stand in 90-degree heat and wreck it all before you even get your badge. So don't do that. Pre-plan. Think about those satellite locations. Also, you can make the most of your day if you're only going for a day, or the most of your weekend. If you go and pick up that badge early, you have a chance to just go right in and start enjoying the fun.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
This is Caroline.
And this is Paul. Please look forward to our post-con coverage after I attend the event and can chronicle all the cool things that I experienced while I was there. And an easy way to do that is subscribe to this podcast, and an easy way to help other people find that coverage is to leave a rating and a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you found it.
And especially go check out on YouTube, because Paul in previous years managed to get some pretty great interviews with different people, especially other con goers who had cool cosplay, other businesses that wanted to showcase things. So get on over on YouTube and check that out too. Please leave a 5-star rating. It helps so much for the promotion of the show. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening. This has been an original Pod Clubhouse production. Pod Clubhouse is a podcast network dedicated to encouraging collaboration among podcasters and friends to bring a fresh voice and diverse perspective on a wide array of content. Please visit and leave a comment for us at podclubhouse.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast feeds on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us at Pod Clubhouse. Our DMs are always open, and we'd love to hear from you.
Pod Clubhouse.